Ladies and gentlemen, on the line, I have from Washington, D.C., Phantom Loke. What up, dude?
Hey, what's going on? Long time.
Yeah, it has been, man. How's everything going with you, dude?
Everything's been going good, actually. Everything's been going real good.
Good, man. Good. You sound like you're in positive spirits and everything. Definitely looking forward to catching up with you and talking about some of the craziness that's been going on in the world, man. Let's start with the first thing, man. I have a few bullet points here, and we'll just kind of go off that. But the first thing I would love your opinion on, being that you're from D.C., Ant Glizzy has been going viral recently for for his portrayal of Crips. He's turned it into some sort of character or something like that. And we've talked about Ant Glizzy. We talked about him a couple years ago when you were on the show, and he went online saying there are no real Crips and Bloods in DC and things like that. But when you see Ant Glizzy's recent antics, what are your thoughts, especially coming from DC?
I'm not going to cut no cards. I'm just going to get straight to the point and be brutally honest. At first, I was pissed because, me and other Crips from the area, we take this shit real serious. And to see someone trolling like that over something that you actually have people that are behind the walls that are never coming out. And then you have some that are 6 feet deep. And for someone to make fun of this culture, this thing of ours, it's a huge insult, a huge slap in the face. But as more I see this dude, portraying, first of all, he ain't no damn Crip. You just want to get that out the way. He ain't no damn Crip. Everybody knows he's not no damn Crip. Especially in my eyes. But the more I see this, he's just crying, begging for attention and all that. And what do you do with a person like that? You just let them cry, cry for that damn attention and shit, I ain't gonna waste no energy on some bozo like that or some shit like that, let him get his little antics on and all that. But I will say this though, when this first started happening, I remember there were a lot of people that were making fun of Crips from the DMV. And I'm saying to myself, it's going to be real funny when them true ones roll up on them and address the issue, and then their whole reaction is just going to change. They say, oh, there's no Crips in DC and this, that, and the third, and it's just a joke, this, that, third. Okay, wait until them true ones come up on you. You won't be saying that shit then. And Glizzy's going to get a whole lot of people in trouble making fun of this thing of ours. And that's basically what I'm just going to leave it at that. And Glizzy, all he is just a troll for real. And that's just what trolls do. But one thing I don't like is he trolling about something that we take really seriously to the heart, and that a lot of people have lost their lives either from death or just lost their life staying behind the wall for the rest of their life, never to come out. That's what, gets to me.
Yeah. Do you know where Ant Glizzy is from geographically in the DC area?
Hell nah. I don't know where that fool from. He might be from under a rock for real.
Yeah, I feel like I was one of the definitely not the first, but one of the first to put a spotlight on DC. I mean, me, you, Avenue Trey, we've been going back 3 years, at least during the pandemic, 4 years before the pandemic, actually. Now that I think about it, I remember Googling back then, Washington, D.C. gangs, Crips. Listen, there was not much information. Now it's all over the place, 4 years later. But, back then I was definitely putting a major spotlight on it. But I want to kind of go back and I want to give us a geographical landscape of the DMV area. Not just DC, but outside of DC and mainly where are Crips and Bloods pretty much all over the DMV area now? Is it safe to say?
I will say this: it's definitely a common sight to see them now than it was say 2-3 decades ago. You know, because back in the day, you would have to read the body language of an individual to know that they are something, they are someone. You know, specific body language. You know, like a specific sense. But now you see people flagged up. You know, wearing certain colors, throwing certain signs and all that, and you just know. And those who don't know, well, I mean, might as well do their homework on all that shit because they might see someone wearing say a TC hat, and they might see someone wearing a Seattle Mariners hat, and they like, oh, that's your favorite baseball team? No, it ain't from no damn baseball team. It's some shit that you would not know about. But those that do know, they do know. And those that they don't, better do your research because from what, you know, I've been watching a lot of videos and they say basically gangs is the new America for real, for real. New America is basically going to be made up of gangs for real. I mean, if you look back, gangs been existed since the 1800s. It's always been here. It's just a slice of society. It is what it is.
Yeah, man.
But to answer your question about the landscape of the DMV, in DC now, you would definitely run into, you know what I'm saying, Crips and Bloods. But before, it was like out Maryland and Virginia. Well, mostly in Virginia, but you had some in Maryland. But Maryland, DC being so close to each other, niggas was really keeping it to themselves. You know, they were like, it was like an underground thing, the way they were carrying it and all that. You know, it's like when it's time to let people know, then they let them know that they ain't flashing it or, you know, this, that, and third. Now, there'll be some nights or some moments they would, but it'll be like for certain events or whatever's going on, but other than that, they keep it to themselves. Now, you'll definitely see it out in the open like you would in LA, like say back in the 90s and early 2000s type stuff.
Take everybody back to when you were young, man, and when you decided to jump off the porch. You know, what made you go that route? What made you join the Crips?
I didn't know anything about Crips at the time. I didn't know anything about Crips or Bloods. There's this one movie that I was always that was my favorite to this day called Baby Boy, right? So I didn't know at the time that the people in there, the characters were in there, that they were all Crips from different gangs and shit. I didn't know. But one thing that stuck out to me was they kept saying cuz this, cuz that, cuz this, cuz that, right? So I remember one time I was watching something and Barefoot Pookie, may he rest in peace, he said the gangs were our family. We call each other cuz. And then I just added two and two together. I was like, oh shit, these niggas were Crips. So that's when I started, you know, learning more about the history and like not just like the slangs and all. I just started learning every single thing about Crips. I was like 14, learning it, mastering it. You know, I was learning every single thing about Crip history. You know, and what was their purpose? What separates them from everybody else? What was their objective? And their history, I can connect to, and I can actually understand it. And one day, you know, now this is where I started my cripping. One day, it was during the Lil Wayne era, I would call it. I was in middle school. One day I just came to school and I just seen all these dudes just all of a sudden just blooded up out of nowhere. I think it was because like Lil Wayne just dropped an album. I forgot if it was the Card 2 or the Card 3. But either way, it was the Card 2. After that, I just came to school one day. I just saw everybody just blooded out. Now, you had some that were actually in blood gangs. There was a gang called the Vampire Bloods, Black Mob Blood. These were all local blood gangs from D.C. And then you had some that were just saying that they were Bloods, and, you know, just identifying themselves as Bloods and all, but they weren't part of no gangs, but they just say they were Bloods. So I was like, okay, you know, they want to show their colors, I'm going to show mine. my dad wore bandanas when he would cut the grass and all, and one of them was a blue bandana. One day I just snuck in his room and I just took that from his drawer and I just hid it in my backpack. Then the next day at school, it was like over the weekend. Then the next day at school, I went to school. I got off the bus. I headed to the blacktop before I entered the school building. I took that blue bandana and I put it in my left pocket. I walked in there, and then as I was walking, I passed all these Bloods and these regular hood dudes, right? All of a sudden, they had to take a double look at me, and someone was like, "Oh yeah, that's what it is. That's what you are." I'm like, "Yep. Y'all showed yourselves. I showed myself. Shit." And then from there, you know, they knew what I was. I knew what they were first, but and they knew what I was and all. And the only thing was, over time, I actually wanted to get into an actual Crip gang. But the thing was, at the time, it was really difficult to come across them because like, we were really small in number. You had to know somebody, you know, around that would actually bring you home and all that. And at the time, there was not a lot of Crips around the area and all. Most of them were out D.C., like southeast, like deep in D.C. I was around the metro area of D.C., so basically like Maryland, Montgomery County type shit. So that happened. I was like what you would call cripping independently and all that, but I was still, you know what I'm saying, just loving to see. And in due time, years later, I had what we call like a identity crisis because I didn't know if I wanted to roll with Roland or I wanted to roll with Hoover. I ain't gonna lie. I was stuck between them two because the Crips I knew, well, I didn't find out till years later, but the Crips that were, I had a feeling that there were family members that were Crips in my family, in which they were, but they were riding with Hoover. And I didn't know if I wanted to be rolling a Hoover because Hoover, you know what I'm saying, that's with my family, but Roland, that's specifically me. And, you know, the path that life chose for me said, you ain't meant to be Hoover, you were meant to be Roland. So, you know what I'm saying, I rolled with that. And then sooner or later, you know, the right set for you will come to you. You don't go look for it unless you was around that neighborhood where it's just like a certain block is that. So, you know, I remember seeing 30s graffiti and all that around my way and all that, and I was wondering, where are they? You know, it took a 4-tray gangster, you know what I'm saying, free G Mercy Loke to guide me to.
Shout out Cyrus and all those cats over there.
Yeah, shout out Cyrus, you know what I'm saying, 430, you already know what it is, west, east, long way. So, thanks to G Mercy Loke, he plugged me into the 30s, the Avenue 30s. And from there, it just went from one thing to another, and that's where it is. We were really badly outnumbered. It was like in LA, it was like what, Crips outnumbered Bloods 3-1, while where in DC and all, it was Bloods and outnumbered Crips. And if it wasn't the Bloods, it was the regular hood niggas that was representing their blocks and all that. And one thing these two had in common was they didn't fuck with Crips. So we had it real bad back then. And also I want to add on was like, even like before I even became part of the set, you know, the Crips always saw me as one of them anyway. They've always seen me as one of them. Other Crips identify me as them. Bloods identify me as a Crip. Regular hood niggas identify me as a Crip. You know, it's just because it's just the way I am, naturally am. It's not like I was trying to put on a facade or anything like that, or trying to be something. It's just the way I carry myself and just the way I am naturally. Everything about me says Crip. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's in you, not on you. It's in your heart. That's what it is.
ADAM22 and No Jumper. They've blown up over the past few years. I don't think we've really delved too deep into that camp over there. I've gotten a lot of point of views from people. A lot of people don't really like what he's doing over there, meaning exploiting certain people and cultures and things like that. Some are okay with it, but the majority of the people that I seem to talk to are not really feeling what's going on over at ADAM22's No Jumper. Do you keep in touch via the internet on what's going on over there?
It's kind of funny because I made which goes back to the Ant Glizzy thing. He actually commented on the post and all that shit when he first started doing this crypt troll thing. And he was like, you obviously have never heard of No Jumper, because he claimed that he turned down an interview from No Jumper. I don't watch that shit because for real, it's like how should I put it? When I saw what he did with that so-called gay crypt, first of all, everybody knows that's against the rules. We don't condone that shit. It's not that, you know what I'm saying? Like, people are who they are, but you can't be gay and be a crip. You can't do that. So when I saw that shit, and then this dude talking about OG Percy gave him the blue light to do this, that, and third. I'm just looking at this shit, and then he came on ADAM22 portraying as a Hoover. Actually, it don't even matter what kind of crip, but portraying that he's a crip and he's gay, openly gay. I'm just like, what type of fucking shit is this? And ever since then, I just like completely don't even listen to any of the shit that No Jumper has to say, because now it's just all goofy to me. It's like culture voting, I mean, and like it's just a huge mess.
I don't agree with most of the stuff that goes on over there. ADAM22 is turning into something different. I mean, he's even using certain slang that, look, when I'm in this arena myself, I interview gang members, I interview people, and who are in the streets or were in the streets and trying to change their life and things like that. So I know it's a fine line you have to walk, because you're entering someone else's culture. I don't think Adam cares about that. I mean, I hear him saying, groove, and I hear him saying he's a BD, a black disciple. Like, and these are all jokes, but still, these are things that I wouldn't even joke about, man, on my own platform. But
once you identify your identity and all that, and then you have some that will even ask you what gang of them you're with. Like, for instance, you Crip? What gang? What set you with? Rolling 30s? Oh, okay. Depending on the set that the individual from a specific set that asked you that, you might have to throw down. You might have to get down. Especially if it's your arch rival and shit, because, nowadays, I'm going to tell you exactly what my homies always say. There ain't no such thing as fist fight. So you always got to be prepared for everything that comes to you, especially now. And you can't just walk around saying, you know what I'm saying, like what you said, ADAM22 is saying, oh, you a BD, this, that. Because, certain questions are going to be asked to you to see if you know your shit. And if you don't know your shit, the consequence could be very bad. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah. It's almost like a powder keg waiting to explode over there. And it almost came to a head just this past week when two rivals entered the studio together. I know you don't really pay attention, but I would love your thoughts on this. So there's a guy named Snoopy Badass out there, rapper. Yeah, you know the name, obviously. Entertainer on the internet, I like to call them. But, he's beefing with BRICC Baby, who is a member of the No Jumper. He's also a Rolling 60 Crip. And apparently Snoopy came up there recently with like 12 of his friends for an interview. And BRICC Baby just so happened to be there with a few of his boys. And it kind of could have got really bad it did not, but it could have gotten really, really bad. And I just think it's only a matter of time, man, before something bad happens up at No Jumper, having all of these, then you got Whack 100 who doesn't get along with such and such, and this person doesn't get along with that person, but somehow Adam is keeping them all away from each other, for the time being. But I don't know. I think it's only a matter of time, man, before something happens bad up there. And as a business owner, I would never want anything bad happening on my property, because that could be a multi-million-dollar lawsuit and be the end of your business. But it seems like Adam is just rolling with it, man. What do you think about that?
I mean, if they want the situation to happen, like you remember in the first Bang on Wax, that first track, when they try to get all the Crips and Bloods in the studio, and they were. I mean, if they want a situation like that, here's what I think, Adam. I mean, here's what I think Dusty Vision. It's like a lot of these people from ADAM22 to Amboy, that's what I'm going to call him, Amboy. I feel like these people just really want to see some action actually happen. That's the way I'm looking at it. It's like they want to see what Crips and Bloods can actually do if they get to a certain extent of disrespect. And I mean, you know what I'm saying, with all the violence and all that, but sometimes in life, even as an individual person, sometimes you gotta make a statement to let people know that you're not to be taken as a joke and lightly. And I feel like that's what basically ADAM22 and Glizzy want, is to see what statement, people can actually leave to make them stop trolling and stop culture voting. It's like, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, but as a business, though, no, it would not be a good look. And as a business owner, you should have more common sense to know not to bring rivals into a place of business. I mean, unless you can replace all your equipment and all that, and replace, all the shit that's broken glass, broken mics, all that shit, unless you have the money to do that. But other than that, not really a good move.
Let's go back to that Tony Woolrich interview, and that's what I'll call him. The person who claimed to be a Hoover, who was also gay. What are your thoughts on Brick Baby and Crip Mac, who are part of the rolling card as well? What are your thoughts on them actually interviewing the dude?
When they were in, first of all, if y'all both Crips and y'all true, to yourselves and all that, why would you even entertain some shit like that? I wouldn't even entertain some shit like that. The minute he came in that studio, I would have walked the fuck out. That's what I would do. Because they both know better, better than to entertain some shit like that. Because that was really like just a slap in the face to the whole Crip culture. It don't matter what kind of Crip you are, don't matter what gang Crips you with, no matter what set, that's a huge slap in the face to see some shit like that. And for them to entertain that type of behavior, especially on public podcasts, ADAM22 No Jumper, where you have thousands of viewers watching that every single day, that's a huge slap in the face. And Rockstar, you heard of Rockstar, right?
Yeah.
From
Whack 100.
Now, when he got into the interview with ADAM22, I fucked with the questions he was asking ADAM22, because he was really like checking him like as if he was actually somebody and all that. He's like, "Are you infatuated with gang culture? This, that, and third? Do you know the difference between the neighborhoods and the gangsters? This, that, and third? Do you know where this, that, and third is and all this shit?" Like, he was really like checking cuz. And, you know, people like that, they need to be checked because this shit ain't no game. It ain't no game. Certain boundaries, certain lines, you cannot cross and all that. And if you cross them, there's repercussions to that shit. Even in the streets, certain lines, certain boundaries, you cross this shit, you might have to get down. Gotta throw them hands, you know, sometimes you gotta go to a further extent than that, but people just take Crippin' and blood and for a joke and all that until they actually see some real shit.
Something I wanted your opinion on as well. You know, just recently, KEEFE D was arrested for his connection in the homicide of Tupac Shakur about 27 years ago. To anyone who's been following the story, it's not too much of a surprise, as KEEFE D has been on numerous platforms, including Vlad TV, The Art of Dialogue, some big platforms out there, admitting to what he did. And it finally came out to a halt earlier in October when his home was raided in Las Vegas. And now he's a 65-year-old man sitting in jail, and he'll probably spend the rest of his life in jail. You know, all because he, for lack of better words, couldn't shut up. When you hear something like that, Phantom, what are your thoughts?
Lack of common sense has him there. Why would you go on Vlad TV? Vlad TV. Every time someone admits to something on Vlad TV, what happens? So what made him think it was not going to happen to him? It don't matter if he's 65 years old. You admit to something on Vlad TV, you're going down. But at the same time, on some serious shit, that is a touchy subject, and that was also going on when the whole trolling began and all that. It was like, this should open some people's eyes to know how real this shit is. Like, it may have been 27 years ago, but that shit follows. And sometimes you have people that are jabbermouths or just make stupid decisions. One small stupid decision can cost you your life. You can wind up behind bars or you end up dead. One small stupid decision. One mistake. And that's basically what happened. Because, you know, as a 65-year-old man, I'm pretty sure before he got locked up, he was watching Vlad TV. He should have known better. He should have known better. But, you know, I mean, it's too late now.
Yeah. You know, I almost expect this from a 17, 18, 19-year-old, maybe a 20-year-old, but dude, it's 65, man. Like,
someone that's full of energy and still trying to make a name for themselves and prove themselves, yeah. But a 65-year-old man, you're basically considered an OG. Like, what is that telling your little homies? That's okay to brag about that shit on live podcast. You know, leadership is more than what people think. Being a leader, you need to have the attitude, behavior, the charisma, the brains to be a leader. It's not just about, telling people what to do, being in charge, being at the top of the food chain, this, that, and third. No, it's a lot of responsibility because, especially in the gang world, you being a leader, a lot of shit that happens because of your people, you know, they're going to call you and you have to, you know, rectify or figure out what happened. And then depending on the circumstances, it can either lead to a sit down or it's going to be war. As leader, you have that kind of responsibility, and it's more than what people just think. Not just in the gang world, but just in general. Shit, it could be in the business. It can be, you know what I'm saying, just in life. Like, you're the person that everybody's going to look to when something goes wrong. whether it's a restaurant establishment, whether it's a multi-billion-dollar company, you know, everybody's going to be looking at you. And it's just something to think about.
What are your thoughts on people who, and I've been seeing a lot of this, you know, people who blame Vlad TV instead of blaming the people who go on his platform and talk? Because I could ask you a question right now and you could respectfully be like, I don't want to answer that, and we move on. You know what I mean? But people will literally go on his channel, he'll ask the question, and these are answering it. You know, what are your thoughts on the people blaming Vlad and not the people who are actually answering the questions?
Well, I mean, like I said, it goes back to common sense. I mean, look at BG Knockout. BG Knockout went on Vlad TV, and Vlad was asking him a whole bunch of questions and all that, but BG Knockout, you know, he answered them the smartest way he can. You know, he answered them the smartest way he can, and he's much younger than KEEFE D, I believe. But you have KEEFE D, who's 65 years old, answering them damn questions like as if he's not going to get any no damn repercussions behind it. Like, come on now. You have someone younger than you that knows how to answer certain questions when it comes to him or people like him. But you have to open your damn trap and just spill the beans to the whole damn world and shit. Knowing they got you on record. Shit. Like I said, it's just lack of common sense. Sometimes that's what's really missing in this world these days. It's just common sense.
Facts.
Morals, principles, but definitely common sense. That's why, you know, I just separate myself from the world and I just do what I need to do in life. You know, keep on rolling positive, as I should say. Going a positive route, you know, teaching my homies, you know, the positive way of doing things and all that, instead of leading them to a down trail where they're going to end up dead or in jail. You know, like I said, leadership, you also have to be a teacher.
What do you think has changed, man? Why do you think we are where we are today in 2024?
I would say this. You know, I remember a decade ago, this movie came out called, 2012? And they said 2012 was going to be the end of the world, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, you know, we were still here after the whole year 2012. But I believe, this is what I believe they weren't saying it was the end of the world, like literally. I think what they were trying to say was that it was going to be the end of a lot of things that made sense in this world.
The beginning of the end of the world type shit.
Morals, principles, you know, common sense. And like now you have this weird shit going on where, you know, opposite genders are basically having a hatred competition against each other. And that is not the reason why God put us on this earth. You know, men's supposed to love women, women's supposed to love men. But now it's gotten to the point where you have this really fucked up generation feeling like this, that, and the third, because they be watching and listening to this, that, and third, watching these celebrities, this, that, and they want to be like them, and they want to have the same things that, okay, they're celebrities. You're an average person. You know? It's like you can't have the same life they have. You don't deal with the same problems they do. But people want to portray and imagine that they are these people when they're not. And in my opinion, that's just really what's fucked up. That's what's wrong with the world. It's too much social media and it's too much glamorizing illusional shit, as I should put it. It's all an illusion. People want to talk about the Matrix, this, that. Like, I don't got, look, if there is such thing as that, I ain't got no parts of that shit. You know, I miss the way the world used to be. So this new shit, I ain't got nothing to do with it. They want to have that shit. They can have that shit. They can keep that going on, but keep that shit away from me. You know, I'm on to bigger and better things and all that. I'm actually trying to go forward with my life and be productive and build the life that I want. You know, life where I can be comfortable with, be comfortable living in, instead of trying to be like, say, these other rappers that are dealing with relationship problems and this, that, and third. Okay, like Blueface, for instance, like what he's been going through and all that shit. Ain't nobody got time for all that drama. Ain't nobody got time for all that drama. I mean, unless, you know, certain people, they have a stage in their life where they love that kind of drama, this, that, and third. But I mean, okay, we talking like what, early, mid-20s type shit. At a certain point, you get to a point where you don't want none of that shit. You just want peace in your life.
Yep.
You just want to live peacefully. You just want to live quietly. Shit, probably own some land, kick back in the rocking chair and all that, and just watch nature. I mean, I'm just telling you, basically, that's what I want. You know, house, land, kicking back in the chair and just watching nature do its thing and just looking at the sky and all that. But some people don't want that. Some people want the drama. Some people want all the dramatics that requires a lot of energy, valuable energy and valuable time that a person like me just don't have time to waste. Time, effort, and energy. Like, some people just don't have that shit to waste at all. Especially if they've been through shit in life. They just don't want to waste that shit.
Let's talk about rap for a minute, man, because I've known you for quite some time now, and I don't think I ever even knew up until recently that you made music. And you're kind of like me. I don't really, you know, go out there promoting that I make music, but if I want to drop something, I'll drop it, and it is what it is. But I don't really walk around and say I'm a rapper, you know, and stuff like that, unless I'm, you know, going to be releasing a project or something. But yeah, man, I had a chance to check out some of your stuff. And for anyone who wants to check it out, it's Slick Deloachsta on YouTube. That's SlickDalochsta. All it's 3 words. Check out his music, man. But yeah, talk to me about your music, dog. And is it something new? Sorry, is it something new?
Silk Deloachsta. No, I actually.
Oh, it's Silk Deloachsta. Really? Oh shit. Yeah, I'm tripping. Like, SILC. My bad.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Okay, I'm gonna tell you the story about that. So I started rapping like really. It was like a little joking thing, like when I was like 15. But I actually started getting behind the mic when I was 17. You know, but it was like an on and off thing. And for real, it never really progressed really until now because I was just in the wrong environment where I can't even grow. So one day I moved from the DMV area and I live somewhere else now. And I linked up with the homies from back up DC. They live down here. And one day we just came up with this idea and we just started making music together. And I actually got a chance to see some results. We, you know, now we have our own label and all that. It's called Family First Entertainment, FFE. You know, my homie, Laylo Lyricist. That's his rap name. But I call him Low. And another rapper, he's actually a Blood, you know, from Sex Money Murder and all that. We made this label, and ever since then, we've been making song after song, music video after music video. And shit's been really progressing. I just did my first show last weekend. It was pretty good, and it's just a start. But yeah, I've been doing this for quite some time now, but just now it's actually showing some results. It's actually going somewhere. Before it wasn't. I was just in the wrong place, not just music wise, but for real, to be honest with you, Dusty Vision, it always been like that for as long as I can remember. It's like as if you was just born somewhere, but it just the way things are and the way the people are and all that is just it doesn't match you. It doesn't align with you. So I had to remove myself from there and put myself where things will actually align for me, which it's been doing that even before I decided to move officially. So that's exactly what I did. Took myself out where shit wasn't going well for me, shit wasn't happening for me, and wasn't going in my favor, and I just put myself where things were going, was suitable and working out for me. Ever since then, that's exactly what I've been doing, especially with this music thing. So, yeah, my first mixtape called No Return. It's just to get my name out there, get my voice out there and all. Right now, I'm beginning to work on my second mixtape. I'm stuck in between naming it You Wasn't There. Like when people were saying you wasn't there shooting at the... Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's basically like that type of thing. So that's going to be like, I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to word it, but that's basically going to be the next mixtape that I'm making. And yeah, you can find my No Return mixtape on YouTube. You can type in Silk the Lochsta, SILCDALOHCSTA, or you can type in FFE, Family First Entertainment, and it should be an icon of 5 people, but the picture is like drawn. You use like this app where you like draw people. It's kind of like that. That's the best way I could put it. Yep. And that's where the music videos are and all.
Okay. Yeah, keep pushing that, and I'm going to do what I can on my end to help you out as well. My last question for you before we wrap it up is, being that you're rapping now, you have a strong head on your shoulders. I want you to give some advice to these younger rappers out there. How should a musician, you just mentioned your first show, how should a musician with gang ties move when he's doing shows in other cities, other states, and hell, even in your own city that you grew up in? What advice would you give to a younger you?
Well, it's kind of funny. I actually had a conversation about that like a week or two ago. It was actually some feedback. And I would say this. When it comes to your own hometown, you're going to have a lot of haters because, that it's where you're from and all that. And, you got a lot of people hating on you, especially from opposite sides and all that. And, they're going to want to do something to you and all that. The way you should roll, I would say when it comes to that, you should definitely be on your T's and C's. You should definitely be on your P's and Q's. And, your homies that are back up there, you let them know that you got a show coming up there and you would love them to participate, even if it's just in the audience and all that, but they're your homies. They're going to roll up if they're really your homies and all that and look out for you and all. As well as having your own security, but, talking about like homie-wise, but now when it comes to going to different cities, they're not going to know you. But at the same time, though, with gang ties, because they might hear about the specific gang that you're in, like if you was a 60 or if you're with the 30s or this, that, and the third, a Trey, and your rival gang is in that state and all that, it's good to have that heavy security. But also, if you have homies that are down in other states that you talk to on a regular and all that, what they say, tap in. let them know that you got a show on the way. That, like basically call the right people that you truly trust to have your back, to let them know that you got a show, this, that, and third, come in their city on this date, and they know exactly what to do, along with your security. But, I would say just do what you gotta do, like in terms of like kill the show, but also know that your homies ain't gonna be the only ones that's gonna be watching you on that stage. And you might have some individuals that are crazy enough to even try to take you out stage, shoot you in the stage and all that other shit, So it's really something to keep in mind and all that, but as long as you got the right security and as long as you got the right people that you trust, without any doubt in mind and all that, then the number one thing is just to make it back home safely after the tour. Get paid and just go on about your way. Don't have time to get involved in that bullshit unless it's brought to you. That's the best way to put it. If dudes want to bring that shit to you and you got to show and all that stuff, you got to defend yourself as a man, not just as a, say whatever you are, but as a man first. Because that's what you are. You're a man first. Before Crip, Blood, Paru, Hoover, G, BD, Greaser, Biker, whatever. Whatever you identify yourself as. You got to stand up for your shit as a man first. But now, if you just want to start some shit, that wouldn't be the smart thing to do. And that's basically like what a lot of drill rappers do. Like, they would purposely go on stage and perform a song at their ops and all that shit, knowing their ops is going to be at the show, waiting for you to play that damn song. Now, why would you do that?
Yep.
Now you got the whole concert shot up. Now you got you got some teenage girl, that like to use and all that stuff, just laying there bleeding dead, all because of your stupidity. Just go there and have a good time, Just make your money and just roll out. That's what I would tell my younger self. Just do what you gotta do. Don't antagonize. Don't instigate. Just just go up there, perform your shit. And it's also good, if you make different music, like different topics instead of just gang stuff. That would definitely help out too. So that way people can see that there's more sides of you than just being what you are. Show them another side of you.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my younger self.
Man, Phantom Loc, always a pleasure, dude. Once again, everybody can check out his music on YouTube, Silk the Loksta. That's SILCDALOHCSTA. Hit that subscribe button. Tell him Dusty Vision sent you. I want to wish you all the best, man. I know you're going to be very successful at anything you do. And coming 2024, man, I'm going to have you back on more regularly.
Hey, man, I give a couple shout outs.
Please do, dog. That was going to be what I said next. Go for it. Give him.
Shout out to my music label, FFP. You know what I'm saying? You know who you are. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the set. You know what I'm saying? Rolling 30 Original Harlem Crip, Third Gang. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Capital chapter. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my homie ADAM22. Shout out to the homie Laylo. Shout out to the homies, you know what I'm saying, back home and all that. Shout out to the whole DNA. Free my cousin Big Rock out the pen. You know what I'm saying? And just stay blessed.